All right, everybody, welcome back to The Real South Africa. We're so glad to have you back. And I would say go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be chatting with you about what we do, who we are, get to know us. Hey guys, what's going on? We got Mark here, and of course we have
Dr. Latasha Blanton
from The Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. And a lot of you guys have had so many questions. And we've been seeing a whole bunch of things happening in this tourism space. And then of course, people moving to South Africa,
Yes.
spending a lot of time in South Africa, the awareness of South Africa becoming more apparent to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so we just kind of wanted to, first of all, let you guys know who we are. A lot of you guys have seen us before, am I right, Tasha?
A lot of you have seen us before. A lot of this will be your first video, and if it is, it's going to be a reintroduction or an introduction to who we are, what we do, why we do what we do, and how we got here. Yeah,
well, let me tell you who we are. First of all, we've been in this South African space for many, many, many years. I think since 2010, 2011.
So we're going on, we're in year 13.
Yes, exactly. And that's been that long?
Yeah.
Well,
it is 2023 last time I checked.
Yeah, and we actually do live here. We've been living in South Africa permanently for the last 5 years, going on 6.
Yeah.
And so forth. And it's been great. It's been wonderful. We've had some really good experiences since we've been here. But I will say that our previous experience, going back and forth, had a real good impact on our time here.
No, I mean, when you say going back and forth, we have had this conversation a million times about how we came here together as a family for the first time in 2011.
Yeah.
And then we came back in 2013 and stayed for a couple of months just to kind of get a feel of what it would be like if we chose to live here. So we went through a whole process. Like, do you remember the process of like having to decide which province, number one, and then deciding like which city in the province?
I remember.
So I know how I feel about the process, but I'm always interested in your version of the process of how we got here.
Well, it was very interesting because, here we are. We're in a new country. We had never been here before. And then we came, we enjoyed. We see, a lot of new people meeting South Africa for the first time in 2019, 2020, 2022, 2023. And they're excited.
Yeah.
And they should be, because when we first came here, we were uber excited, but
we were enamored and love. I'm still in love, but definitely in awe. Like, I couldn't get enough of South Africa.
Yeah. And so we decided that we're going to come, like a lot of people do, and figure it out. And along the way, it was interesting because we didn't know what we was doing. We didn't have anybody to reach out to guide us, to say, hey, do this, don't do this. Hey, why don't you do this? We was just trying to figure it out. So that's what happened. So it's kind of funny that when we are seeing people coming to South Africa, for the very first time, we get contacted a lot. Yeah, about coming to South Africa, and what to do. But I think some people don't realize that we've already been through this process, and I think for us to be where we are right now, living, properly here in South Africa was a process.
Yes.
It didn't happen overnight. We didn't come up with a 6-week or a 6-month plan to be living in South Africa. We wasn't interested in taking the shortcuts because this was a country that we wanted to live in, and we wanted to make sure that we was doing everything right. So we went through the process, and I think our first step was just to come here on a visit.
Yeah, and when you talk about the process, I always think about the fact that because of who we were before this, we're not going to take any shortcuts. We're not going to find the easiest route to do anything. We're going to understand, number one, where we're going.
Yeah.
We're going to understand what their rules, what their laws are, how they actually do things. And I think that once we understood how South Africa worked, it allowed us to matriculate South Africa in a much more, I don't want to say safer, but in a much, it was easier for us to navigate.
Yeah, it was,
because we understood that, like, in order to get things done, you have to follow these steps. And once you understand that part, you're not frustrated.
Yeah.
You're not in your American mind thinking this should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's a massive issue.
And the one thing I will not do on this country is I will not should all over it.
Yeah.
Because that's an American thing where we feel like people should just do something the way we think they should do it.
Yeah.
And I think that we learned in all those visits coming back and forth. Not to behave that way. We tell people all the time, check your American attitude at customs, leave it there. You can pick it up when you get back.
Yeah, when you get back to America, and obviously you got to put back on your armor. Do it then. But while you're here, you really don't have to do it. And I think in all those visits, and let me give you guys a roundabout number of how many times we came to South Africa, for weeks at a time. To figure out if this was for us, and then each time we came, we learned something more about South Africa. Yes, we came and ate the food. Yes, we did all the fun stuff. We was a little younger. We kind of turned up a little bit, but with our friends, went to a few 5-star events that we didn't even know that we can go to, because everything was kind of, it was weird for us. We wasn't, we did. Let me tell you who we were before we came here. That probably help you out. Because a lot of the times, I think you have options. You can come here and be a totally different person.
You have that option.
You
reinvent yourself. You do.
Or you can be more of what you already were. And so at this point, here we are. That's taking you back 2013. At this point, I think. 2013, actually before that, 2011, I was working for the government. I was a W-2 earner, and we had just started our business. We had it for like 3 years.
2011, for like 3 years. Yeah,
and we had a proper physiotherapy company. Whatever you would assume it is, but it was proper. We did all the stuff. It wasn't a mom and pop, operation at all. With employees and pretty much everything.
Everything that comes with it.
Following all the insurance regulations as they were changing. At breakneck speed because of the Affordable Care Act. Things were changing almost daily, and I had to read up on it and whatnot. We did that, so we had our company, but before that, I was U.S. Secret Service, working for the government, doing my thing. I was Army before that, and so forth. And you had a history before 2011, right?
Before 2011, I was working. I was a W-2 earner as well. I was the director of quite a few facilities before we decided that it just made more sense. If I was going to run anybody's facility, it made sense for it to just be my own. So we made the decision as a family that I would stop working.
Yep, I told her to quit.
And
said we're done with that.
But the story behind that too is a little bit longer, but we won't get into that. But ultimately started working for myself, did some contract gigs, and eventually opened up brick and mortar, and then that expanded. Within the first 6 months, we had to open up another facility, and then that expanded. We opened up another facility. So we did our thing for 10 solid years, with me practicing as a physiotherapist. But the business grew so fast that I had to do the big ask, and the big ask was, do you mind quitting your government job to come run this practice with me, because it's too much for me to do by myself. So,
but even though I was there most of the time,
you were still helping, but
but it was a lot. It was a lot. So we went for the American dream. We went for it. We did everything that we can do, and I think at some point, at the same time, as the years went all the way up to like 2017, 2018, while we were still running our company, we were in South Africa most of the time.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it was funny because we looked around. We didn't see any other Americans. It was
No.
Yeah, I'm sure they were here. There were a few. We know people from the Blacks Without Borders video that came out in the '90s, maybe early 2000s, and it was impactful. But again, we didn't see anybody. We didn't know anything. So we got really close to a lot of South Africans that kind of clued us in what we needed to do. But in our travels, we found that because we were doing, as some people would call it, the touristy stuff, which I would just say is just the normal things that you need to know while you're here in South Africa, understanding the South Africans. By the time it came time for us to actually move, we get this question all the time. What about the shock? What was that they say a lot?
What? Like the culture shock?
The culture shock, that one.
Yeah.
And you see I have a hard time because I didn't feel like it was a culture shock. Actually, around 2015, 2016, it was a culture shock leaving and going back to the U.S.
Absolutely. It was more like pain, but you can say shock if you want to. It was more painful.
Yeah, so it was interesting. So when people ask us that, they think that we're being coy, and we're like, no, because we started a long time ago.
A very long time ago.
Yeah.
A very long time ago. So when you're remembering or re-remembering, because it's been so long, like, how do you feel now that we actually came here, developed the relationship, understood how things work? Do you think that, I know what the answer is, but I just want you to explain it. The answer is yes.
Okay.
Because I think that building that relationship with the back and forth, with every chance we got, being here multiple times per year, that helped with us being able to understand South Africa, and to when we did transition, it made it a lot.
It was seamless, and it wasn't about, because like I said, we own our company, we did our own thing, so it wasn't about saying, okay, I got this much money, I can buy this much house, I can take this money and do this and do this, kind of like how we do in the U.S. and I know how we do because we've done that too. We've
lived in the U.S. longer than we've lived in South Africa, so every day, the effort to shed who you left still is a process. I mean, it's like being in a relationship that was bad. It takes a long time to get out of it. And being, from the States, it kind of feels like a bad relationship sometimes. So it's gonna take some levels of.
But we didn't have a problem with the U.S.
No. I'm just saying, when you talk about like mentally, mentally, that's how I'm phrasing it. That you have to really prepare yourself, and I think we did that.
Yeah, we did that over time. So when I say that, I know a lot of people feel like, well, I don't have time. You actually do, and so what we end up trying to do for you guys through a process called tourism is to expose you properly to South Africa. That's basically all I can say. I know around 2017, 2018, people was telling us that there's nothing but negative videos on South Africa, like nothing but negative, and a lot of that was coming from South Africans on YouTube, because we wasn't YouTube type people. No. I don't remember being a YouTube type person, so that wasn't part of our makeup. But then when we did finally look, there was always somebody talking about how bad South Africa is in all these different places. So then people would ask us all the time, well, I heard this and I heard that. And I said, well, look, where I come from, we kind of walk on a certain level, so to speak. We do our thing because we worked hard.
Yeah.
And so why would I come to South Africa and basically not be at that level or higher? So that's what we look for all the time. I don't come here looking for crime, just like I don't come to, where we came from the DC metro area, looking for crime. I know where it is. I go
other way.
Yeah, it's not like I go and I see it and I run. No, it's just like where I go, I don't see it.
Right.
I go here, I don't see it. I go there, I don't see it. And I go home and I don't see it at home. So, and that's kind of how my routine was. And I'm sure a lot of crime happened in DC, but was I witness to most of it? No. Not even a little bit. Same thing here. I'm sure things happen here, but at the same time, you know, the level where we were, which was, I would say, not too much different than what it was in the U.S. You know, I mean, let's be honest. The higher you go up in the world, or your work, you know, whatever
status.
Yeah, status, or whatever it permits, you will see less and less.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of who we were before we got here, and then when we came here, this is where we are. Mm-hmm. And so we absolutely enjoy, you know, South Africa. So when we talk about the tourism piece, what we do, you know what it's like, you know, for us as Black Americans. What do? We want to go somewhere. We get a hotel room. We get a flight. We land, and we don't know what we're doing from that point.
Figure it out.
We're gonna figure out what this is. And truthfully, we get people all the time that are like, I want to come to South Africa. I'm going to get a flight, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to do all these things, and I'm going to come to South Africa, and I'm going to hook up with you guys, and we all going to run around. That's impossible, because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are coming here that for some odd reason is like, oh, well, we're just going to hook up with the Blantons, we're going to hook up with Mark, we're going to hook up with Tasha. You know, you're on vacation, we live here. Mm-hmm. So what we have done is put together a program through tourism to expose you properly. I can easily say that because what we learned over all those years
is what we put together.
Yeah, is what we actually put together. So that's what you've been seeing. So all these people that you've been seeing recently over the last 2 or 3 years who have been coming through us, raving about what they're seeing and what they've been doing, is because we actually put that together. And those same people, you start seeing them saying, I want to move to South Africa. I want to move to South Africa. But just a few short years before that, nobody would even
talk about South Africa.
Yeah, talk about, let alone come visit, let alone
think about living here.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So obviously through the tourism, you know, lens, it worked. It worked a lot, mm-hmm. And so we brought hundreds and hundreds of people to South Africa. We're still bringing them.
Yep.
And we got so many people scheduled because we know once they come, they're gonna meet the South Africa that they need to meet. So then they can make a decision
on their own.
On their own. I don't have to tell you, you know, hey, you need to move to South Africa.
Which we would never ever do. We're never going to tell anybody what they should do. And the tourism piece is so big.
Yeah.
And the way we put together our packages is careful because, trust me, as many years as we've lived here, as many years as we came back and forth, we put together like in these packages like a quick version of what we've been able to do. But it's all stuff that you can explore and see for yourself.
Yeah.
If this is something that you want to do. If it is, absolutely come back, come build your relationship. But the first step to building that relationship is coming and saying hello.
Yeah.
And standing on the soil and talking to the people.
Taking a proper step.
And taking a proper step. And having a proper stay. And a proper stay involves not having to worry about whether or not you're going to be safe. Where are you going to eat? Where are you going to go? Who's picking you up? Where are you going next?
Am I going to be safe?
These are all the things that our packages provide, which is why tourism is so big here in the country and why we do it the way that we do it.
Yeah. So, you know, the way we run this business here is very reminiscent of how we ran our business before. In America, and we did it for 10 years until we sold it. But we was very successful. You can't sell a business that's failing. So we just transferred a lot of that know-how and who we were into what we do on this side, and that's kind of, I think that's why I think, you know, we stand out a lot. But for us, it's just normal, every day. This is what we do, and people may not understand it. and then they might try to go around what we're saying, but eventually at some point they end up reaching to us saying, hey, you know, how did you do that? And unfortunately, there are people that are already in the funnel trying to get here because they've been working with us for so long. And until they do get here, because sometimes we got people booked out 10 months out, 12 months out.
Some people that are, they'll go up as high as 18 months out.
Yeah.
So they're really trying to get here. And the good thing about what we do is because we offer payment plans, we understand that you might not have all the money up front. And because we understand how the U.S. works, we take that into consideration that there are people that want to see it, but may not be able to travel that soon. But they really want to come. So they're like, I'm going to commit to this. And we're able to commit as well by just making sure that that you have an opportunity to pay for your experience and that, you know, it's well put together when you decide to travel.
Exactly. And we're committed to, you know, to everyone who travels with us to make sure that you get here and have a proper experience. Now, that doesn't mean that, okay, whatever your wants, needs, and desires were when you were in the U.S. and things that you couldn't do in the U.S., now all of a sudden you think you're going to come here on a 6, 10, or 13-day trip and you're going to be able to complete it in that period of time. Because the reality is your real goal should be just meeting the handshake of South Africa. Let me say that at the same time.
We did.
Yeah, but that
thinking alike.
Yeah. but that should be your main goal. So sometimes we kind of, you know, we temper your expectations. You're not gonna, I mean, here you are, you've been wanting to start a rib shack for 20 years, and then we have a conversation with you and you're coming to South Africa, and then you just assume that, oh, by the time I get back on the plane, I'm gonna have my master plan to start a rib shack. You know, but the funny part about it is, if you actually came here and met South Africa, you will meet South Africans through this tourism lens that would say, hey, I know somebody that knows somebody. Hey, you know what? And next thing you know, you be on your 4th trip coming back to start your rib shack.
Right.
You know?
There goes again the building of the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that came with us that have been back multiple times.
Yeah.
They always just say, I just wanted to let you know I was here. I'm like, great, have a good time.
Or they don't move here.
We have had that happen as well too. So say all that to say the first visit is your introduction. It is your hello. It is your come meet South Africa. And then all those subsequent visits, that's where you start to find your lane, where you start to find how you're going to move about in this country and how you decide how you want to meet South Africa. Where do you want South Africa to meet you? Because if you are a middle class earner in the U.S., you can slide right over here into maybe an upper middle class and maybe a little bit higher. You take those things and you match it with a higher quality of life. That's where you start to determine how you want your life to be. And you can make those things happen, but you can't make those things happen unless you actually come visit.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be like, I'm gonna meet the man of my dreams as soon as I get there. It's like, well, you gotta meet him first.
Yeah.
And then build a relationship and then go down that path. It's never gonna happen the other way around.
No. So like I said, we see the influx of people that are coming. A lot of them are coming with us. A lot of them have come with us. We kind of manage their expectations, and we told them these are the types of things that make sense. And then we've been finding out that a lot of these people are doing very well here in the country. We see them from time to time.
Hey.
Yeah, I know a lot of times they say, oh, we're not going to bother them because I know they're busy, because we do have people flying in all the time. And then of course, we make sure the logistics are proper, because one thing that I like is the fact that a lot of you guys get off the airplane and there's somebody holding a sign, after you've been flying 14, 15 hours, maybe a little longer, and you see that your name, and then the person grabs your bags, puts you in this nice vehicle, and then they take you to a hotel and you check in and you get a good night's sleep. That's logistics. We make sure those things happen properly.
You're not at the airport like
looking for an Uber guy
or some taxi guy to do
Yeah.
whatever. Those things matter, especially when you're traveling this far.
Yeah.
So we take all those things into consideration.
Yeah, I always think about the people who come with their families, because we bring individuals who just want to say, you know what, I ain't waiting on nobody else, I'm coming.
That happens a lot.
That happens a whole lot. And then you get a lot of people who are saying, I want to come with my significant other, and then they come with their significant other. So like obviously I'm a man, I have a significant other. I want to make sure she's safe, but I'm a man on this side. I'm saying, okay, I know that brother wants to bring his wife or his significant other, and he wants to make sure she's safe. So once they check in, I give him the look. I like, is she good? And he be like, yeah, she good. That's all that matters. I don't really care about what his situation is. He gonna be all right. No, for real. Anybody who's came on this trip, I always ask the gentleman.
Every single
is she happy? Is she good? If there's something that's a little short, and if he says no, she was thinking about hey, I wish we had a wash rag. And I say that because sometimes you don't get wash rag, but we're gonna get that wash rag. We're gonna sort that out. Yeah, no, for real.
Face towel.
A face towel. That one. But we do all these little things to make sure everything works well. And then we have families that come. And we have extended families that come as a group.
Yeah.
And those are really fun because
it's so many different. I'm gonna let you tell me. There's so many different things happening when there's extended family, like first, second, third generation. There's so many things happening.
Yeah.
So many things happening.
And then the other part, we get people that come and they like, oh, I want to go to Joburg, and then they leave Joburg and go to Cape Town, and then they're like, wow, this is different. But people think South Africa is just one homogenous country, when I'm trying to tell you, you can go down the street, is different. So you go from a 2-hour flight from Johannesburg to Cape Town, it's a different animal. Or if you leave Johannesburg, go to Durban,
on a 50-minute flight.
A different animal. So there's a lot going on, and then our people, they don't realize that there are, first of all, there are other Africans here.
Yeah, there's lots of
in the country. It's not just South Africans, even though we all look alike. I mean, we literally all kind of look alike. So, you don't know who you're going to be, talking to. And then, of course, almost lastly, the thing that I like to do primarily. I mean, I love going to the 5-star locations and enjoying myself.
But I know what your favorite is.
Yeah, I like going to safari lodges. Guys, I'm trying to tell you, I go to a lot of game drives. I go to a lot of 5-star safari lodges simply because the service is the best, the food is great, the spas are nice, being out in nature is amazing, and then of course the animals. I mean, there's nights when you just riding around, trying to find a leopard.
Yeah.
Just riding around all night, and it's just you and the guides and the rangers and everybody in the car, and we just riding, and it could be 2-3 hours, but it's just a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And you're laughing and you're kind of joking a little bit, and you're like, hey, I think I see something. And then they put the light, and we go look for it, and it's for me, it's fun. It was something that I had never done before, but I did it.
But you like being outside. So
yes, I like being outside, but the activities is very nice.
No, you like being outside. You like animals, and even if you're like, I don't like all animals, whatever. Once you see a animal in its habitat, you like animals.
Yeah, outside.
You start to be like, this is really cool, and then you get active, and then you want to look for them, and then you want to be out there. You want to see what you're gonna see and what you're gonna find. And chasing down a leopard, which we've done before, was probably the most fun that we've had in a very long time, between chasing the leopard and seeing that family full of elephants feeding.
Yeah.
That never gets old. I don't care how many times you do it. It's something.
But I will say this to you. South Africa is a lot of things. It's a lot of things, and of course, people start doing their comparisons, this, that, and the third, and I get it. If you don't know much about South Africa because you haven't spent enough time here, but you know a whole bunch about the U.S. because that's all you know. Yeah, you're going to do a lot of comparisons. But eventually, as you start spending more time here, those comparisons kind of fall away.
Yeah.
They really do. So that's why you don't see us comparing things. But we want people to come and with an open heart and an open mind and understand that this country is right currently is a post 1994, Mandela presidency country. A young democracy who's on the come up. And at some point, they want their people, the children of Africa, to ultimately descend down here and come down here and meet the people and make a difference.
Add value.
Yeah, add value. You can make a difference. You don't have to always be the person that says, "Oh, I want to come down here and start a business, so I'm not going to come until I got my business." No, the reality is. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you because we are business people for the most part. When we start coming through that gate, and I'm gonna say it the way it is, when we start coming through that gate, they count those numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they count those numbers and they see who's coming through those gates.
They check those passports.
Yep. And right now, and I'll be honest with you, everybody that's ever came to South Africa that's black, especially came through us, they literally look around and say, where are all the other black people that's supposed to be going to South Africa? And we got people on planes that see another black person and come to find out, oh, they're coming down with the real South Africa, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you went to real South Africa? Yeah. And they may be going to two separate cities. One could be coming to Johannesburg, one could be stopping in Johannesburg, do a connecting flight to Durban or Cape Town or anywhere else that we send people. And it's kind of funny. But what I'm trying to say to you is this: the more people that come down here, the more they will start noticing that there is a demand for the goods and services that are here in South Africa from our group. Mm-hmm. Right now, the biggest demand, and you may have a problem with it, and I'm gonna say, well, no, because those people come and they spend a lot of money in the Republic of South Africa, and people go to work because those people come.
Yes.
But as much as they have in the tourism space, we should be coming down here and we should be, spending our tourism dollars, and they will notice, it'll take a while that, those Americans be coming down there. What can we do? Because a lot of you guys have never seen any advertisement in the United States about coming to South Africa. The only thing you may have seen is us.
Or something that says go to Cape Town, or you heard from somebody go to Cape Town.
Yeah.
But an active advertisement of the country, I know we never saw one.
Yeah, I've never saw one. The first thing I saw was Blacks Without Borders. And then I ended up coming on because of work, and then from that point on, I knew.
Yeah, but once we knew, but up until that point, we talk about this all the time. There's no one actively marketing. There's no one, at least not. They're marketing. They're just not marketing to us. Let's just be honest about it. But I never saw anything about South Africa. In our spaces.
Yeah, but you got to understand that they can't leave those. I mean, they only have so much to spend, so they can't leave those other markets high and dry.
Right.
And then a dip happens, and then they say, okay, well, we're going to see if we can spend money over here and get these guys coming, and they're like, I'm not coming because of I heard this or I heard that, and so then they end up missing, and then a lot of people won't have jobs, and the whole tourism thing falls apart. So, and I'm not interested in that. So this is a grassroots movement. So I implore anybody who's looking at trying to do any travel, especially African travel, and they want a proper experience, because most of everything that we do, matter of fact, I'm gonna just say it like this: most of the stuff we do is private.
Yeah, it's
private. When you go on safari, on a game drive, it's private. Pretty much everything we do is private, and is what's the word? It's specifically for you. For example, every place you're going to go, we're going to have somebody, a driver pop up, and he's going to be dressed very well, and he's going to pull up in a very nice, clean vehicle, and he's going to pick you up, and he's going to take you to where you got to go. Then he's going to pick you up and take you to the next location, and then take you back to your hotel. Most of our hotels that we use are 4 or 5 stars, primarily 5-star, and we make sure everything is sorted. So well in advance, before you get here, we have a relationship with a lot of locations, and they know who we are. So when we do make that call and say, you know what, we got somebody coming from New Jersey or Texas or
California,
in California
or wherever.
Yeah, I think
Ohio.
I think Texas is probably the people we get the most. You think?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a lot of people.
I don't know. I don't know.
So, but anyway, we make sure everything is in order, and then you come and then you have that experience, and then you will be one of those people saying, "I'm going to move to South Africa." We know this because we know what you're going to experience before you get here.
You will be spoiled.
Yeah.
You will be spoiled. We do our very best to make sure that you don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly. So that's who we are. Like I said, I'm Mark, and this is Tasha, and we are the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. We're based in Johannesburg. We're here every single day. Unless we're in Namibia or something. Or we may slide. Anyway. But anyway, we're here.
We're in the country.
Yeah.
Or country adjacent. But we're here.
So, but yeah, we're here, and we're here to make sure that your travels with your family, and especially your extended family, goes well here in the Republic of South Africa.
All right.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things the Real South Africa. Thanks again.